This is Samira. She's in desperate need of your help. For just £2 a month, you can provide her with food and shelter. Food and shelter. Food and shelter. Why is it that all we seem to care about providing poor children with is food and shelter? Or a school which provides a really basic education? I'm not here to mock charities, I'm really not. I think they do some great work. But why is that the extent of our ambition? Why do we never think to empower these children to become leaders? Why are we so content in just giving them a fish? This has been bothering me for some time now. And why do we see so few of these poor children break the cycle and become leaders? Poor not in the sense of talents or abilities, but rather underprivileged, not born into wealth and not having the resources to facilitate their growth. This question got me really curious, so I decided to find out. But the question isn't really why do so few of them become leaders. The question to ask is, how can we realistically enable them to become leaders? Realistic being the key word, because otherwise there's a million solutions. My favorite being, let's just make them all rich. But luckily, I did manage to come up with some realistic solutions. Good thing too, right? Because otherwise I wouldn't be here today. There is a caveat though. As much as I would like to say that these solutions work for everyone on the planet, they don't. Right now, they're only really feasible for people in the developed world. But anyway, let's go back to the story. So I'm sitting there, I've come up with these solutions, and I'm being really, really happy with myself. And then I start thinking, is this really a problem? Or have I just heard it a few too many times on TV and just exaggerated the whole thing in my head? So I decided to look at the stats, and this is what I found. In the UK so far, we've had 54 Prime Ministers. 41 of those 54 have attended Oxford. That's Oxford or Cambridge. Now, I have to admit, attending Oxford doesn't equate to privilege. So I decided to find out where did they go before university. And 39 of those 54 independent schools. That's another 73%. I have to be clear though, I'm not against people being rich. I'm really not. And I'm definitely not against these schools, right? Before someone rushes the stage. But education is important, right? And if you can afford it, I think you should spend heavily on it. And to be really honest, I'm not sure about you guys, but I'm not even that surprised by these numbers. Because throughout history, power and influence has always been associated with wealth. That's nothing new. But for the first time in history, we're at a place where that is no longer the case. So I'm an NLP practitioner by profession. And yeah, I know it's got a bit of a bad rep for, conning people in sales or attracting girls. Doesn't really work for me. But I can see some of the guys finally just woke up. But what NLP essentially is a tool to help us figure out someone's strategy. In other words, it allows us to analyze someone's patterns, figure out their strategy, and then instill it in other people. So I decided to focus on a strategy which has produced so many leaders. And I found 3 core elements, which, if we can implement properly with poor children, will lead to many more of them becoming leaders in the future. Now, since I am in the psychological field, I do need to start with psychology. Rich children and poor children are raised differently. That's no surprise. But what difference does it really make? Well, imagine you're born into a family like Rafa and Nana, where 2 out of your 3 uncles are international level athletes. How hard do you think it will be for him to believe that he can be one as well? I mean, growing up, you probably thought that's what everyone did, right? And if he just puts in some effort, he can become one as well. But now imagine, you're born into a family and a town where you don't even know anyone who plays national, let alone international level sport. Now the odds in your head aren't 2 out of 3. Now the odds are 1 out of 1,000,000. And if you've never seen anyone do it around you, you really want to take on those odds? Most people wouldn't even bother. Not because they're not capable or they don't have the potential, but rather because looking around them and looking at the odds, they form the belief that it's impossible. And when you have the problem with beliefs is, They control our perceptions and our actions. You know what it's like? It's like when one of your friends, when you start thinking one of your friends is really angry at you, even if they're not. But until you figure out they're not, everything they do makes it look like they're really, really angry. Isn't that true? Right? So when you start thinking you can't be a leader, everything that happens around you is interpreted in a way which not only matches but also reinforces that belief. So, and when you really think you can't be, why bother putting in the effort? So the first thing we need to do with these children, before anything else, is instill the belief in them that they can and will become future leaders. Otherwise, they're never going to put in the effort to be one. Historically, we haven't really known how to do that. Right? Psychology wasn't that advanced. Only very recently have we figured out how to change people's beliefs, and also why we need to change people's beliefs. But now we've figured out so many ways that kids can be taught to do it for themselves in school. So that's something that we're really doing well with right now. But once they've got the belief that they can be a leader, now they need to be made competent enough to become a leader. Because it's a case of other people believing they should lead them, right? It's not about positive thinking. This isn't the secret that all you need to do is go away and visualize and people are just going to start voting for you. It's a case of other people believe that you should lead them. So what we need to do is educate these children, right? And we've been told repeatedly that our education system is broken. But I haven't actually heard any good solutions to this problem. And I've heard some terrible solutions as well. For instance, why are we not teaching people our mortgages and doing tax returns? Like, really? Come on. That's what you want to base the education system on? Something that takes about 2 weeks to learn? Another thing we're constantly taught at the same time is that our education system was built to produce workers for the Industrial Revolution. So what were we taught before that? Well, for the masses, there really wasn't much. But what about the elite? Well, what I found is they were taught, since the time of the Greeks, all the influential members of society were taught one crucial thing, the trivium, the 3 tools of leadership: logic, grammar, and rhetoric. These are the tools that not only taught you how to think, but also speak, and speak in a manner that moved people, that captured their minds and their hearts. Imagine how different our world would be if we were still taught logic. I mean, for one, I don't think so many people would have thought that building the Great Wall of America was such a great or even feasible idea. Because what logic does is, it teaches you how to think for yourself, so you can't be manipulated easily. It teaches you how to differentiate between right and wrong, between truth and falsehood. Isn't that what we should base the education system on? Not to cram knowledge into people, but rather empowering people to think for themselves and giving them the tools which allow them to figure out what's actually good for them. Then there's grammar, which I admit we do teach quite a bit. But what grammar essentially is a set of tools to teach you how to construct sentences in the proper way, in whichever language you speak. I'm not against slang, but if you don't know how to speak properly according to a particular setting, you're going to be held back from opportunities which should be available to you. For instance, imagine you're running for Prime Minister, and you're the best person for the job. But the only way you know how to speak is, well, go on, blood. You're going to vote for your boy, yeah? How far do you think you're going to get? Finally, rhetoric. This is the greatest tool of leaders since the Greeks, really. This was a tool so powerful that the Greek elites were worried that it could be used by those of the masses to challenge, outwit, and overthrow them. But it's not enough to be able to speak properly. You have to speak persuasively, in a manner that moves people. 2 of the most emphatic leaders of the last 100 years were both masters of rhetoric. They had the power to move thousands, if not millions, with their words. The first, Martin Luther King. It's been over 50 years, and everyone still remembers the words, "I have a dream." That is the power of words. The second, Barack Obama. He went from being a nobody to the most powerful man on the planet in 4 years, based on a 20-minute speech at the Democratic National Convention. 20 minutes. That is the power of words. His opponent said, he's just a smooth talker, just a man of words. But unfortunately for his opponents, words matter. Words are powerful. And his words led him to become the first ever black president. In the past, we haven't always had the resources to teach all of these tools to everyone. But now, with a wide availability of literature, from the classics of Aristotle to the contemporary works of Sam Lake, it's been simplified so much that you can teach it to children in school on a budget, even if the teachers don't fully understand it right now. Now that we've covered education and psychology, I think there's a good case to be made that in the past, these two by themselves would never enable people to become leaders, because there was always one major hurdle still there. That major hurdle? Money. Historically, you've always needed huge funds to run an election campaign or gain mass support. You needed the media. Without them, you had no hope of getting your message across. That is no longer true. Right now, if you have a message, you can gain mass support without any money at all. All you have to do is make a video on Facebook. How about that? We saw that in the last election with Jeremy Corbyn. You don't need media support anymore. He wasn't backed by much of the establishment, but his message found home with those on the internet. And for all of its ills, social media will help the leaders of the future, especially when they don't have much money. Combining these three factors, psychology, education, and money, or really the fact that money isn't as much of a necessity as it used to be, I believe we are finally in a place where we can produce leaders from the poorest of classes. I believe we are finally in a place where the notion of a poor child holding a seat of authority isn't just a fairy tale. I hope these ideas get put into practice. I hope they get tested. Because until then, it's just a theory. A theory like many before it, left untested with unknown potential. Just like the potential of a poor child. Thank you for listening.